God's covenant with Noah. Long ago, when the world was still young, people went about their lives under wide open skies. The earth was filled with many sounds: birds singing softly in the trees, gentle rivers flowing over smooth stones, and the whispers of the wind weaving through fields of grass. But over time, the hearts of people became heavy with sorrow. They chose to live in ways that made the earth sad. The Creator, who had looked upon all that was made and called it good, saw that the world was filled with pain and harm. It was a time when kindness was harder to find, and the earth felt the deep weight of sadness. In the midst of this time, there was a man named Noah. He was gentle and loved to walk quietly with the Creator. Noah tried his best to live in a good and peaceful way, even though the world around him was changing. He had a family who shared his calm heart and cared for the earth too. One day, the Creator spoke to Noah in a soft and steady voice. The words were gentle, like the first breath of morning. The Creator invited Noah to build something very special, a large boat called an ark. This was no ordinary boat. It would be a safe place for Noah and his family, and for many animals to rest and be protected. Noah listened carefully. It was a big task, and it would take a long time. The Creator explained that soon rain would fall, a rain unlike anything the world had seen before. It would cover the earth with water, washing away what had grown so heavy and sad. The ark would float quietly on these waters, keeping safe all who were inside. Calm and steady, Noah began to build. Day by day, he sawed and hammered, shaping the wood just as the Creator had described. His family helped gently, working side by side with patience and care. The sky above them changed from soft blues to gray, and the air grew cooler. Yet Noah and his family felt peace in their work. As the ark took shape, something wonderful began to happen. Animals of every kind, many with soft paws or quiet wings, came close to Noah. There were creatures that liked to walk slowly and others that loved to hop or fly. In pairs, they stepped onto the ark, 2 by 2, and settled into cozy places. The world outside grew still as the first drops of rain began to fall. At first, they were light and delicate, like tiny whispers landing on leaves. Slowly, the gentle rain became a quiet song of falling water. The sound was soothing, but carried a message of change. Noah and his family, safe inside the ark with the animals, felt a sense of calm. They listened to the rain as it tapped gently on the wooden roof. For days and nights, the rain sang its soft lullaby, covering the earth with a blanket of water. Inside the ark, the air was warm and peaceful. The animals rested, the family shared gentle moments, and the Creator's presence was like a quiet light, steady and sure. After many days, the rain slowed and finally stopped. The waters began to calm, and slowly, the ark came to rest on a mountaintop. The world outside was new, quiet and wet, washed clean like a fresh start. Noah opened the door of the ark carefully. Step by step, the animals came out, sniffing the fresh air and exploring the renewed earth. Noah and his family looked around, seeing soft hills and clear skies. The earth was beginning again. In this new beginning, the Creator spoke again. With a gentle promise, a quiet agreement was made, a covenant. The Creator said, softly but firmly, that never again would the earth be covered by floodwaters like before. As a sign of this promise, a beautiful rainbow would appear in the sky, a quiet glowing arch of colors, soft and tender. This rainbow would remind all who see it that the world is cherished and that peace can come even after the deepest storms. It would be a calm, bright symbol in the sky, a gentle promise from the Creator to the earth and all its creatures. Noah and his family felt a deep sense of peace, like a warm blanket wrapping around their hearts. They knew they had been part of something bigger, a quiet step into a future where kindness and care could grow again. The earth began to blossom. Soft grasses grew under the sunlight, and trees stretched their branches toward the sky. Gentle animals roamed freely, and the air was filled with new songs, songs of life, hope, and calm. Noah and his family set out to live quietly and kindly on this refreshed earth. They walked softly, thankful for the new beginning and the quiet promise held in the colors of the rainbow above. As night came, the sky whispered stories in the stars, carrying the peacefulness of the earth below. The world seemed to breathe gently, resting from the long journey through the waters. And so, the story of Noah and the covenant with the Creator was woven into the quiet fabric of the earth's memory. A gentle tale told in the soft colors of the rainbow. the calm sounds of the rain, and the peaceful steps of those who choose to live with care. It is a story that reminds us, in the quiet moments before sleep, that even after great storms, there is room for calm, for hope, and for new beginnings. The gentle promise of the rainbow arches softly across the sky, holding us close in its quiet beauty. Days turned gracefully into weeks, and then into months. Life on the fresh earth dawned slowly and softly for Noah and his family. Each morning was an unfolding gift, wrapped in the gentle light of the sun. The air was crisp and filled with the fragrances of the first blossoms pushing tenderly through the softened soil. Noah stepped outside the ark in quiet awe. He planted a small seed with reverent hands, feeling the earth's warmth cradle it. His children followed, scattering handfuls of seeds from the stores they had kept safe inside the ark. Each sprout that peeked upward was a silent prayer of hope, a whisper of renewal. The animals, too, wandered freely, some slowly, lingering near the waters they had longed for, others with newfound playfulness in their steps. Their feathers glinting in the sunlight sang soft melodies, reminders of life reborn. Even the gentle giants among them moved with serene dignity, symbols of the deep peace now blanketing the earth. Noah and his family nurtured the land with care. Each day, they drank in the quiet rhythms of growing things and changing skies. With hands steady and hearts open, they fashioned homes from fallen branches and soft grasses. They shared stories beneath the sheltering boughs, stories of the great rain, the enduring ark, and the Creator's promise etched in every drop of the sky's color. The rainbow remained a sacred presence above them. After every storm, it would arch across the heavens like a delicate smile, softening the world with its glowing, gentle hues. It was a reminder that even amidst clouds and tears, joy awaited patiently. When children asked about it, Noah spoke slowly, his voice calm as a still lake, telling them it was the Creator's quiet promise, a bond of peace between earth and sky, forever. Time unfolded its patient scroll. The days grew longer, the nights sprinkled with shimmering stars. Seasons began their subtle dance, each one a chapter in the story of growth and healing. Noah and his family learned the language of the land, how to listen to the wind's stories, how to tell when rain would come, and when the earth was ready to give its abundance. The animals adapted too, their behaviors weaving into the new landscape. Some stayed close to the waters, drinking deeply and resting peacefully. Others ranged further, curiosities stirred by the infinite newness stretching before them. The quiet harmony between creatures and people blossomed naturally, as if the earth itself breathed a sigh of relief. Noah's deep gratitude filled every moment. He often sat beneath the vast sky, tracing the colors of the rainbow with his eyes, feeling the Creator's gentle presence enfolding them. His faith was steady, a candle glowing softly through the seasons, warming the hearts of those around him. The children grew, curious, kind, and filled with wonder. They explored with gentle footsteps, learning from the earth's teachings, how to harvest fruit without greed, how to care for animals with respect, and how to honor the balance of all living things. Their laughter became a melody threaded through the stillness, a quiet hymn of life. Occasionally clouds gathered, and rain would fall again, not in destruction but in renewal. The soft patter was like a lullaby, nurturing root and leaf, reminding all that water was not only a force of cleansing, but also of life. Each rainfall was embraced with peaceful hearts, knowing the covenant held strong. In that peaceful rhythm, Noah's family found their place. They were caretakers, storytellers, and part of the ceaseless cycle of Earth's breathing. Their days were simple, filled with acts of kindness and quiet joy. Evenings were spent under the sky's vast tapestry, reflecting on the journey from flood to promise. Noah often thought about the ark, its sturdy wood and faithful design. It stood as a testament to trust and perseverance, a vessel of salvation born from faith. Though the ark was left behind high on the mountaintop, its echo lived on in their hearts and actions, a reminder that even in great storms, a safe harbor can be found. The Creator's covenant was more than a promise. It was a call to live with gentle hearts, to cultivate peace, and to embrace hope. Noah felt this calling deeply, tending not only the soil, but also the spirit of the world around him. As seasons spun onward, the earth flourished. Meadows overflowed with wildflowers. Rivers sang clear and steady. and the skies held their promise through every shift of light. The rainbow continued to glow, a silent witness to the Creator's unending grace. Noah and his family grew older, their hair touched by silver, their steps slowed, but still steady. They taught the next generations to walk softly, to listen closely to the earth and sky, and to remember the sacred covenant. These teachings became gentle songs, passed from parent to child, ensuring the memory of renewal stayed alive. In the quiet moments, when the wind whispered through the trees and the animals settled for the night, there was a profound peace, an unspoken understanding that life, with all its challenges and beauty, was a sacred gift. The covenant with Noah was not just written in the rainbow, but breathed into every tender leaf, every soft breeze, and every heart daring to hope. And so, beneath the ever-watching sky, life moved gently forward. The story of the flood and the ark remained a soft murmur in the world's vast song, a quiet reminder that after the darkest storms, the light of new beginnings always dawns. As the seasons spun by, the world found its gentle pace once again. Each dawn, sunlight spilled like warm honey across sprouting green fields, while the soft murmur of rivers sang sweet songs of life and promise. Birds, once silenced by the storm, filled the air with their melodies, notes woven delicately between fluttering leaves. Noah watched these moments with quiet wonder, feeling the pulse of earth beneath his feet. The soil was soft and rich, eager to cradle the seeds his family planted. In the cool shade of tall trees, he traced the bark with calloused fingers, sensing the steady heartbeat of time embracing all. The rainbow, arching softly after each rain, remained a balm for the spirit, a gentle reminder that the Creator's promise endured, silent yet unfailing. At dusk, when the sky blended soft purples and rose hues, the children gathered around Noah's fire. Their eyes, bright and curious, reflected the flickering flames as he told them stories of courage, faith, and gentleness. They asked about the stars and their shimmering names, about the animals' journey, about the waters that once roared so fiercely. Noah's voice was steady and soothing. He spoke softly of the flood, not as a tale of fear, but as a lesson of humility and renewal. The Creator's love wraps around us like this fire's warmth, he said, steady and unending. We live not to conquer nature, but to walk with it, to listen and to care. The children listened with wide hearts, understanding their place in a world that needed tender hands and kind spirits. They learned to watch the small miracles, how a bud unfurled into a blossom, how the earth drank the rains and offered fruits in return. Their footsteps left gentle imprints, careful not to disturb the delicate balance around them. In the quiet corners of each day, Noah's family practiced gratitude. They thanked the soft breeze that carried whispers of distant hills, the steady rain that kissed the thirsty land, the warmth of sunbeams that painted golden paths on meadow floors. Their prayers were simple, a breath of thanks shared beneath the endless sky. The animals, too, thrived in this new harmony. Deer stepped lightly through the thickets, their eyes calm and bright. Birds built nests high in branches, weaving homes with twigs and hope. Even the small creatures, the bees and beetles, hummed their part in nature's endless song, inviting prosperity with every gentle buzz and scurry. Though their lives bore the marks of hardship, the family moved forward with hearts untethered by fear. In their shared silence, in the tender moments of watching clouds drift lazily overhead, they felt the Creator's touch, not always grand, but present in every unfolding leaf, every sparrow's call. Noah often found himself gazing upward, where the faint curve of a rainbow lingered after gentle showers. It was a quiet assurance, a promise not carved in stone, but painted in light and color. He understood now that the covenant was woven through these simple wonders. The sky's clear blue, the earth's soft breath, the steady rhythm of day turning to night. Years folded softly into one another. The children grew steadily, their laughter mingling with the songs of rivers and winds. They learned the stories as their elders had, carrying the sacred trust in their hands and hearts. And though Noah's hair turned silver and his steps slowed, his spirit remained bright, a beacon of faith rooted deeply in the fertile soil of hope. Evenings were slow and tender. The family gathered beneath skies that blushed with stars, sharing quiet tales and gentle songs. The ark, resting now beneath flowering boughs, stood as a testament, not only to a time of trial, but to the enduring strength found in love and resilience. It whispered softly of shelter through storms, of courage in uncertainty, and of peace won not by might, but by grace. Noah's gaze softened as he often whispered prayers. He asked for gentle hearts to continue the work they had begun, for kindness to bloom in each soul like flowers in spring, for hope to shine like the brightest star on the darkest nights. The earth, he knew, was a sacred trust, a living covenant made vibrant by every hand that tended it with care. In the quiet of the early morning, when mist caressed the meadows, and birds stirred their wings in soft flight, a sense of deep calm settled over the land. The stories of old, of waters rising, of the great ark, of the rainbow's vow became the gentle hum of memory, a lullaby reminding all who listened that renewal is always possible. One gentle night, as the family rested beneath the canvas of the heavens, Noah felt a peaceful fullness within. He knew that the days ahead would ask for loving stewardship and gentle courage, as they always had. But the bond, the covenant, was forever alive in the tender whisper of the earth, the steady arc of the rainbow, and the unspoken promise held deep within every heart willing to listen. And so, beneath the watchful stars and the soft embrace of the rainbow's colors, life continued, quiet, steady, and blessed, woven with the Creator's promise, a covenant of peace stretching from sky to earth, from heart to heart, now and forever. As seasons rolled gently onward, the landscape around Noah's home blossomed with new energy. Soft breezes carried the scent of growing things, fresh leaves, blooming flowers, and earth warmed by gentle sunlight. The children, now older and wiser, understood this world through quiet observance and humble hearts. They no longer saw themselves as rulers over creation, but as loving caretakers of a shared and sacred space. Noah would often sit beneath the broad branches of a wise old tree, whose roots seemed to drink from the very heart of the earth. There, he spoke softly to his children about the simple truths hidden in the cycles of life. "See how the tree bends in the wind, but never breaks," he said. "So too must our spirits be flexible and kind, open to change and gentle with all living things." The children watched as birds nested overhead, cradling their young. They noticed how the rivers flowed steadily, nourishing every plant along their way. These were reminders, Noah explained, of the Creator's endless patience and care, a patient hand guiding delicate growth with unceasing love. From dawn till dusk, they moved with a rhythm attuned to the land and sky. Their prayers, small and sincere, were carried on the soft morning mist and whispered again as twilight settled peacefully. They gave thanks for the soil that bore fruit, the rains that quenched the earth, and the stars that lit their path through darkness. Night after night the family gathered close, their voices blending in calming songs that celebrated lasting hope and gentle mercy. These moments stitched their hearts together, weaving stories of forgiveness and renewal beneath the eternal tapestry of stars. The ark, resting quietly beside them, stood as a silent witness, a vessel of memory, resilience, and promise. Noah's eyes, now lined with time and wisdom, shone with a quiet joy. His spirit was strong, not because of the years he had lived, but because of the love he held, love for the earth, for his children, and for the unseen hand that had preserved them all. He taught that true strength blossomed from humility, and true courage from kindness. "It is not by might nor by power," he would say softly, "but by gentle hearts that peace endures." The children took these words deep into their souls, understanding that leadership was a sacred trust, to be exercised with care and respect. Slowly, the world around them began to heal more fully, their branches weaving shelter for creatures big and small. The animals, once cautious, now lived without fear, sharing the land in peaceful equality. Streams hummed clear songs, and fields stretched lush and green as far as eyes could see. Every rainbow that arched across the sky carried renewed meaning. It was not just a sign from a distant past, but a living promise, an unbroken covenant enfolding the world in delicate bands of color, whispered prayers between earth and heaven. As years passed, the children became wise adults, teachers themselves. They walked with gentle steps, carrying forward the sacred duty their father had entrusted to them. They shared the lessons of kindness, patience, and hope with those they met, reminding all that the Creator's covenant was felt deeply in acts of care and moments of peace. Even as Noah's days slowly drew toward their close, his spirit remained luminous, a steady flame of faith and gratitude. The quiet woods and rolling hills echoed his gentle voice still, a promise carried on the breeze that life, tender and resilient, would continue to unfold in harmony with the world. On one calm evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with soft hues of pink and gold, Noah gathered his family once more beneath the stars. They joined hands, hearts beating in rhythm with the earth's gentle pulse. Together they offered a prayer, not just for themselves, but for all who would follow, for every living thing that shared their fragile home. "May kindness guide our steps," Noah whispered. "May hope fill our days, and peace grace our nights. And may the Creator's covenant be a light in every shadow, a soft shelter in every storm." And so the story settled into the quiet harmony of each day, an ongoing dance of life and love, born from the deepest roots of faith. In this peaceful place, the covenant endured, speaking not only through rainbows, but through every tender breath and every gentle touch. The ark stood still, but its sheltering spirit lived on, carried forward by hands that nurtured and voices that sang. The legacy was clear: a world entrusted to care, cradled by grace, and forever held in a quiet, sacred embrace. And with that, the tale flows gently onward, the soft echo of promise whispered across the ages, reminding every heart that peace is possible, kindness is powerful, and love is eternal. Long after the ark came to rest and the floodwaters faded, the earth thrived anew under Noah's care and the teachings he passed on. Seasons cycled with gentle perfection. The whisper of the wind among new leaves told stories of healing and of promise. Every dawn was a quiet witness to the tender balance between sky and soil, between humankind and the living world that sustained them. Noah's children watched and listened, their hearts attuned to the language of the land. They learned that to walk gently was to honor the delicate threads holding life together, the small insects crawling under leaves, the soft moss growing between stones, the clear songs of birds announcing the morning. These were not mere details, but the very rhythm of creation. Each day ripened with lessons in compassion. When a bird with a broken wing sought shelter, Noah's family did not turn away. Instead, they offered careful hands and quiet presence. With patience, the bird healed and soared once more, a testament to kindness returned to the earth. In these small acts, Noah's children discovered the power of empathy, a flame to carry in times of shadow. As they walked through fields lush with wildflowers and fruit trees heavy with bounty, Noah spoke of humility, how the earth neither boasts nor grieves, but simply gives. To receive with grateful hearts, he said, is the beginning of sacred harmony. The children learned that strength did not come from conquest or loud triumph, but from gentle stewardship and quiet service. Around the evening fires, the family shared songs that drifted softly into the night air. These melodies spoke of the stars as guardians, watching over the world's unfolding story, of rivers that sang ancient wisdom, and of the rainbow, a bridge of peace spanning earth and sky. Each note was a meditation on hope renewed, a prayer woven through sound and silence. Together they traced the path of the rainbow across the heavens, names and colors shared as blessings. When the rains came again, the children watched with wide eyes, seeing not storm but the tears of the world washing away old sorrows, preparing ground for fresh beginnings. The rainbow was a promise living in the sky, a covenant that peace and love endure beyond all trials. Years turned slowly, like leaves falling in a gentle stream. Noah's voice grew soft but steady, a wellspring of wisdom flowing to the next generation. He reminded them that true courage was to listen, not only to words spoken, but to the whispers of the heart and the earth. In listening, we find the paths that heal, he would say. This was a leadership born of kindness, a guiding light brighter than any command. The land flourished under their care. Woods grew deep with ancient trees, whose roots held memories of long ago. Rivers sparkled with fish playing beneath sunlit ripples. Fields whispered with the hum of bees and the rustle of tall grasses dancing in the breeze. Every creature, great and small, was welcomed in this peaceful tapestry of life. Noah's grandchildren came to learn beneath the shade of mighty oaks, their eyes reflecting a quiet reverence for the wisdom passed down. They too were taught to walk softly, to speak gently, and to give freely. In their laughter and dreams, the healing of the world sounded clear and bright, promising a future where grace and peace would bloom. As his days drew nearer to dusk, Noah's heart remained a steady flame. In the stillness of early morning, he would rise to greet the sun, offering thanks for yet another day filled with light and learning. Surrounded by family, his prayers were simple and profound, for kindness to endure, for hope to grow strong, for the earth to remain a sanctuary of love. The final prayers lifted quietly one evening beneath a tapestry of stars, each one a silent witness to the covenant between heaven and earth. They asked that the spirit of peace would guard wandering hearts, that the courage to forgive would live within every soul, and that the gentle hands of humankind would protect the gifts of creation with mindfulness and grace. Noah's story, though it reached its earthly close, breathed on in the lives of those who carried the legacy forward. The ark's memory was not just a vessel resting in time, but a living spirit present whenever kindness shaped the world, whenever patience healed wounds, and whenever love became action. In the quiet moments, the soft rustle of leaves, the gentle ripple of streams, the warm embrace of sunlight on the skin, there lived a sacred promise. This was the covenant not of words alone, but of every gentle act that nurtures life and honors the divine craftsmanship woven through all things. And so, beneath endless skies painted with rainbows, the world whispered this truth across the ages: that peace is born from humility, that hope flourishes in forgiveness, and that love is the eternal song sung softly by every heart willing to care. This is the story of Noah's covenant, not just a tale of survival, but a guiding light, a gentle hand reaching across time to invite all who listen to walk the path of grace, peace, and enduring love. The seasons turned with quiet grace, weaving rhythms that taught patience and presence. Each dawn carried a gentle promise, each sunset a whispered goodnight. Under the same sky that had shimmered with rainbows long ago, Noah's family walked softly on the earth, their steps humble but steady, grounded in the vows spoken in the breath of the wind. Gardens blossomed where wild seeds once took root. The soil, still moist with the memory of ancient waters, nurtured tender shoots that grew strong through sun and rain. Animals visited freely, sensing the sanctuary's peace. The dove returned, winging through blue skies like a quiet hymn, a familiar symbol that hope endures beyond storms. Noah loved to sit beneath the wide branches of the great tree planted long ago, its leaves whispering stories of days when the world was washed anew. He would close his eyes and listen, not only to the sounds of bird call and breeze, but to the soft pulse of life itself. It was in these moments he felt the covenant most deeply, as though heaven and earth leaned closer to murmur their ancient promise. He taught his grandchildren about the power of quiet. The world often rushes, he said, but we find strength in stillness. Their eyes shone bright, reflecting the tender firelight of evening, their questions thoughtful. They learned that humility was not weakness, but the wellspring of true courage, a courage that builds bridges instead of walls. In the garden, Noah showed how every creature has a role, the bees humming in delicate balance, flowers opening to greet the sun, trees offering shade and shelter. All give, he said, and all receive. In this cycle there is no greater or smaller, only belonging. This simple truth became their guiding rhythm, each day a prayer, each act a step along the path of love. At twilight the family gathered once again around the fire. The rainbow's colors touched their faces, reminding them sorrow had been met with grace, destruction with renewal. Songs rose softly, carrying reverence for the earth's enduring embrace. Even as time passed and the children grew into their own lives, Noah's words lingered. They became a quiet strength when conflict stirred the air. They softened anger, mended wounds, and planted seeds of peace in fields where doubt might have grown. One evening, as stars began to twinkle like gentle sentinels, Noah felt a deep stillness settle in his heart. It was a peaceful wait, the calm after a long journey. He gathered his family close and spoke of the unseen threads that connect all living things, the unbroken covenant of love, woven through breath and soil, water and sky. Remember, he whispered, that love is the endless song beneath every silence. It is the hand reaching out without fear, the heart listening deeply beyond words. Walk this path gently, for you are the keepers of this sacred trust. With these final words, the room seemed to glow with warmth. Gratitude blossomed quietly in every soul, a tender flame kindled by years of lessons lived and shared. As the fire's embers softened to ash, so too did the weight of many seasons ease within Noah's spirit. When morning light crept softly through the window, the world felt new once more, a sacred continuation of all that had been and all that would be. Noah's legacy was no longer his alone. It was carried forward in every kind act, every patient breath, every humble prayer uttered beneath the vast, ever-watching sky. Through storm and calm, joy and sorrow, the covenant endured, a quiet beacon inviting all hearts to dwell in grace, peace, and love, as endless as the horizon itself. And in this unbroken circle, life whispered its sacred song, ever gentle, ever sure. As the years gently folded upon themselves, the quiet rhythm of the days deepened. Noah's voice grew softer, yet each word still carried the steady heartbeat of the covenant he so cherished. His presence, like the great tree under which he sat, became a comforting landmark for his family, a reminder that solid roots and patient growth could weather all storms. One peaceful morning, as dew clung lightly to new leaves, a hush swept through the garden. Noah watched as a young fawn stepped tentatively among the blossoms, its eyes wide and curious. He whispered to his grandchildren nearby, "All creatures, great and small, share this earth. They come to teach us, to remind us of the delicate balance we must honor." His grandchildren nodded, their small faces reflecting a tender understanding, as if the gentle deer had spoken to their very souls. In these visits from wild creatures, Noah's family saw something sacred, a bridge between the heavens and their humble home. He often said that the dove, with its soft wings and quiet song, was the living symbol of hope renewed. Each sighting was a sacred moment, a whisper from God that the promise stretched beyond the rainbow's arch and rested in every breath of wind. Even beyond the garden's edge, the seasons spun quietly. Autumn arrived with its gentle sigh, settling a golden cloak over the land. Noah and his family gathered fallen leaves, weaving them into crowns and stories. In the glowing twilight, as shadows leaned long, he told of the flood's fury and the calm that followed, how every story, no matter how dark, held the seed of peace. Birdsong threaded the air like delicate music. Noah taught that each creature played a note in the grand chorus of creation, their voices rising and falling in a harmony that sustained the world. "No one stands apart," he'd say. "All belong, all give and take in turn. Even the smallest leaf has a place, and even the humblest song matters." At night, when the stars spilled across the sky like scattered diamonds, Noah would gaze upward, tracing the invisible lines that connected the endless points of light. "See how each star holds its place within the great dance," he whispered. "So too are we all tied, in ways we cannot always see, by threads woven with love and care." His eyes gleamed with quiet reverence, inviting his children and grandchildren to feel the vastness of a promise made long ago. The covenant, he explained, was more than a pledge written across the heavens. It was a living, breathing guide, a light in the dark, a gentle hand on the heart. Sometimes when sorrow crept quietly into their midst, Noah's teachings wrapped like a balm, softening anger and healing wounds with the simple power of understanding and grace. In those moments, the family found strength not in loud words or grand gestures, but in silence shared and hearts opened. Noah taught that patience was a kind of courage, and humility a path that led to wisdom. These truths settled deep within his grandchildren's spirits, growing quietly like the sturdy trees that sheltered their home. Amid the changing seasons, their days were filled with acts of kindness, helping a neighbor, tending the earth with gentle hands, offering a smile to a stranger passing by. These simple deeds became the ripple of the covenant in motion, stretching outward into the world beyond their garden. One late afternoon, as the sun leaned low and the sky blushed with soft hues, Noah gathered his family beneath the vast branches of their great tree. His voice, though tender with age, held the clarity of purpose and light. "Remember," he said, "the threads that connect you are invisible but unbreakable. They bind everything and everyone in gentle care. When you love, tend, and listen with an open heart, you become part of the promise, and that promise never fades." His grandchildren looked up at him with eyes wide and shining, carrying the weight of his words like a precious gift. The wind whispered softly through the leaves, as if nature itself were nodding in quiet approval. With nights growing cooler and days more brief, Noah's time near its close felt wrapped in peaceful stillness. He spoke often of gratitude, for the rainbow's beauty, for the steady presence of family, for the countless blessings seen and unseen. One evening, as twilight deepened into starlit calm, Noah lifted his hands in a gentle prayer. His words were simple, woven with the same tenderness that had carried him through life's storms. May we love with open hands and patient hearts. May peace dwell in every step, and may the world be ever gentle with all its children. His family gathered close, warmth holding them like a soft cloak. The covenant alive in their hearts shone like a quiet beacon, steady, enduring, full of hope. And so, in that sacred stillness, Noah's story found its gentle resting place, a lasting melody of grace and promise carried forward by all who embrace the quiet power of love. In the gentle hush of early morning, long after the dew had settled on the leaves, Noah's thoughts still floated on the calm waters of memory and promise. His eyes traced the soft dance of mist rising from the fields, delicate as breath, weaving quietly through the trees. The world, renewed again and again, seemed to whisper the same unspoken vow that life would continue, gentle and strong, so long as love was held tenderly in heart and mind. As the seasons later shifted, the earth dressed itself in soft blankets of warmth, with blossoms awakening and bees humming their sacred songs. Noah watched the sparrows scurry busily, carrying whispers of comfort to and from the nests tucked safe in branches. He saw how every small movement, every wing beat, seemed part of a delicate rhythm, as if the entire earth were a chorus in a grand unfolding story. In these moments of quiet observation, Noah often reminded his family, "See how the smallest of beings play their part? Even the tiniest leaf or the faintest breeze holds purpose and meaning. This is God's covenant in action, an endless weaving of threads, strong and subtle, binding us all in peace." He spoke of patience, the gentle waiting that does not rush or fret, but trusts in the unfolding. Patience, he said, is the soft soil where kindness grows. It teaches us to hold space for others' journeys, to listen deeply and respond with grace, even when our own path is shadowed. Their days passed not with grand gestures, but in these quiet acts. A shared meal prepared with care, laughter exchanged under a spreading canopy, hands tending the garden or mending a well-worn garment. Each act was an echo of the covenant, a small promise renewed. When the sunset spilled gold and pink across the horizon, Noah's family gathered beneath the great tree, their sacred circle. He traced a finger along the rough bark and smiled. Though we cannot see this love, it wraps us like this tree's roots beneath the soil, unseen yet steadfast. It holds us, guides us, and reminds us we are never truly alone. Noah's voice would soften then, carrying the reverence of a lifetime. This is the true covenant, an invisible hand that steadies the trembling, that encourages the weary heart to rise again. Let it be our light and shadow, our banner when storms come. Let love simple and true be the bridge that links all of us, across time, across souls. As his hair silvered and footsteps grew softer, he found joy in the smallest gifts. A child's smile, the hum of bees at dawn, the tender curl of a new leaf. In these he saw the fulfillment of a promise, a seed planted long ago, blossoming quietly, deeply. On a particularly still evening, he gathered his family one last time under the tree, which now wore the cool shadows of twilight like a gentle cloak. "Remember," he whispered, "every moment carries the chance to choose kindness, to listen with an open heart. This is how we live the covenant, day by day, breath by breath. Together we are the keepers of hope and grace." His eyes shone with peace as the first stars lit the velvet sky. The rainbow, faint but sure, arched gently above, a quiet reminder of all that had been, all that would be. And so Noah's journey, though drawing gently to a close, sows seeds of boundless hope. The covenant he lived by is not a story ended, but a world continually born anew. In the kindness we offer, the patience we nurture, and the love we carry, quiet and unwavering. In the heartbeats of the earth, the rustle of leaves, and the songs of every life, that promise whispers still, a covenant eternal, gentle, strong, endless, and in that we find the peace to walk forward, together, under the endless sky. As the seasons softly swept by, Noah's days grew gentler, paced by the slow rhythm of the earth around him. Each morning he would rise with the sun, feeling the tender stretch of light unfurl across the sky. The world seemed to breathe with him, a shared exhale of creation's unending cycle. In these still moments, Noah was reminded once more of the covenant's quiet pulse. It was neither loudly proclaimed nor boldly tattooed across the heavens. Instead, it whispered in the rustling leaves, the hum of bees in their garden, and the patient unfolding of flowers through dawn's tender haze. This was love's covenant, soft, enduring, almost invisible, yet invisible not in absence, but in presence. It was the tether that bound the heart of humanity to the divine embrace. Noah's grandchildren, full of youthful curiosity, would often gather around him, wide-eyed as he traced invisible patterns in the air, hinting at the unseen threads of the promise. He told them, "This covenant is like the seed beneath the soil, quiet, unseen, but inside it holds all that life needs to burst forth." His voice was calm and steady, a gentle current flowing through a peaceful stream. As days turned to weeks and weeks into months, Noah's family carved out a rhythm of reverence and joy. They learned to listen to the unspoken language of the earth, the quickening stirrings of newborn animals, the delicate architecture of a spider's web, the steady drip of rain, each drop a blessing falling softly to the ground. In these simple wonders, they found proof that the covenant held true, binding everything in harmonious balance. Noah often spoke of patience as a sacred art. To love is to wait without giving in to despair, he would remind them. Patience does not mean idleness, it means nurturing hope's ember when all else may seem dim. His words sank deep, taking root in the hearts of his children and grandchildren alike. They practiced quiet endurance, understanding that kindness was a garden to cultivate, not to rush or force, but to tend with gentle hands. The family sitting beneath the vast canopy of stars, their faces bathed in the soft glow of moonlight. It was here, under the silent witness of the skies, that Noah shared stories of the covenant's presence in their lives. He noted how love could be an invisible hand, steadying, guiding, lifting when burdens threatened to overwhelm. The children listened, enchanted by the idea of a love so vast yet intimate, like the night air that embraced them. With each passing year, Noah grew more attuned to the subtle gifts accompanying the covenant. A smile shared, a helping hand extended, a moment of forgiveness given freely. These were the quiet miracles marking the covenant's unfolding. He taught his family to recognize these light-filled moments and cherish them as sacred tokens. "These small blessings," he said, "are the rainbow's colors woven through our days, signs that the promise endures." On one particular twilight, as the horizon blushed with soft hues of pink and orange, Noah sat with his family beneath the great tree whose branches had sheltered them for so many years. He took each hand, his eyes reflecting the soft fires of dusk. "Remember," he urged gently, "to choose kindness every day. In doing so, you become the keepers of hope, the caretakers of this ancient promise." His words carried a tender weight, a quiet charge to protect and nourish the covenant in their own hearts. As the night deepened, the sky held its breath, and a faint rainbow traced a pale arc far above the horizon. It was subtle, almost a sigh of color, but for those who watched with open hearts, it was unmistakable, a sacred sign etched lightly across the heavens. A reminder that the covenant's promise is eternal, ever renewed in the quiet moments, in the daily acts of love and patience. Noah's story, then, was not one loud with triumph or thunderous declarations. It was a soft and steady light, born from the gentle rhythms of living faithfully. His life became a hymn to the covenant's boundless hope, carried not only in grand gestures, but in the tiniest acts of grace. With each sunrise and every tranquil evening, the love and patience he so cherished were born anew, spreading like seeds upon the morning breeze. And so, within the heart of the world, the covenant with Noah continued to bloom, silent, steadfast, a beacon for all who would listen to the whisper of love echoed through time. In the patient unfolding of life's tapestry, the promise held firm, an unbroken circle of grace and hope, ever turning toward the dawn. The days continued to fold gently into one another, like soft petals opening in the quiet of dawn. Noah's lessons had rooted deeply in the hearts of his grandchildren, but he knew there was still more to share, more ways to see the covenant's quiet unfolding in the world around them. One morning, as the sun nudged the horizon with gentle light, Noah led his grandchildren to the edge of the garden where wildflowers swayed in the soft breeze. He knelt beside a small, unassuming shoot pushing through the earth and whispered, "See how this tiny sprout reaches toward the sky? It does not rush or stumble. It grows gradually, trusting the world to hold it. So too does the covenant grow, within and among us." His grandchildren listened, eyes wide with wonder. They felt the peace of the moment sinking quietly into their souls. Noah's voice was soft but steady, like the pulse of the earth beneath their feet. "Many believe the covenant demands grand deeds or mighty acts," Noah murmured. "But no, it lives in the gracious pauses. It is in the space where kindness blooms without fanfare, where forgiveness springs quietly from the heart. It is a gentle urge to hold one another with care and to keep our promises, even when no one is watching. Later, beneath a vast sky peppered with twinkling stars, Noah's grandson asked, "Grandfather, how do we keep hope alive when the days feel heavy and the world seems dark?" Noah's gaze drifted toward the stars, as if drawing strength from their constant light. "Hope is like a seed planted deep within us," he said softly. "It might be drenched by storms or buried beneath cold earth, but if we tend it with patience and faith, it will sprout again. Our quiet acts of love water hope, even when we don't see the blossoms right away." The breeze shifted, and a soft hum of crickets rose from the grasses. The children felt a gentle comfort in their grandfather's words, the truth settling like warm blankets around their shoulders. As the weeks passed, Noah spoke often of the delicate balance of giving and receiving within the covenant. "Every kindness we give is like a drop of water, restoring a parched land," he would say. "And when we accept kindness, our hearts grow lighter too, for we are not meant to carry burdens alone." He showed them how to recognize the small miracles woven into daily life, the smile of a neighbor, a helping hand extended without hesitation, the forgiveness offered and received beneath a quiet sky. Each was a thread in the tapestry of the covenant, invisible yet strong. One cool evening, wrapped in soft shawls, Noah pointed to the horizon where faint colors gently blended into the dark. "Remember the rainbow?" he asked. "That was just the beginning of many promises. Sometimes the covenant speaks through quiet signs, subtle invitations to faithfulness, not always with thunder or brightness, but with silent assurance." The youngest child, curious and tender-hearted, asked, "How do we remember such quiet promises when the world is noisy and filled with so many distractions?" Noah smiled gently, his eyes reflecting the calm of a still lake. "We remember by listening with our hearts," he replied, "by stepping back from clamor and tension, allowing ourselves to be still. When we slow down, we hear the covenant's whisper in the wind, in the turning seasons, in the laughter shared around the fire." He taught them to find sacred moments in the humblest acts, tending a garden, sharing bread, comforting a friend in need. "These are not small things," he said. "They are the foundation stones of a life lived in covenant." Time moved with a quiet grace, the seasons tracing gentle patterns across the land, their spirits nourished by the steady rhythm of reverent living. They learned that faithfulness was not a blaze but a steady flame, fueled by daily choices rooted in love and patience. As the harvest moon rose golden and full, Noah gathered his family once more beneath the familiar expanse of stars. His voice, calm and warm, carried the essence of a lifetime spent in gentle covenant. "The promises we hold are eternal, carried through generations like a sacred song," he said. "We may not see their end, but we trust the melody. Each of you is a keeper of this song, a guardian of hope. Remember always to sow kindness, to cultivate patience, and to carry love as softly and surely as the dawn carries light." A hush settled over the family, the weight of those words resonating deeply within each heart. Noah's final lesson was one of quiet courage, that within the seeming silence of ordinary days, the covenant lives and breathes, reaching beyond sight, touching all life with steady grace. As the night deepened, they lingered beneath the stars, joined together in the warmth of shared story and sacred promise. The invisible covenant was alive among them, a living light in the calm and steady pulse of patient love.